Hi, I'm going to show you how to run matplotlib on the Dardel HPC cluster. This is part of this course using Python in HPC environment as taught by these centers. So the word HPC is important here. So in this session about matplotlib, I will tell you why it's important. We run Python code that uses matplotlib on Dardel, and we create a plot with matplotlib on Dardel. But that's it. The optional part is about using matplotlib in general. And that's not the main point of this course. The main point of this course is being able to use it in an HPC environment. So I won't discuss that. You can do this on any computer or most computers. So with that out of the way, what is matplotlib? Well, matplotlib allows you to create figures. For example, here we have the code that creates this simple figure. It's not much, the figure, but it just shows you what it can do. Matplotlib is important because it's one of the most popular Python plotting libraries. You can create publication quality figures, and it has most of the plot types you want. So I'll just take a brief look at some matplotlib plot types here in this tab. I will quickly scroll through that. You can see that all kind of plotting type of plots, they are there. Yeah, also like 2D, 3D plots here. So matplotlib has probably what you need, probably has your plotting needs covered. Let's take a look at the exercises. Good, and let's take a look at the exercise. Exercise 1 is minimal code, exercise 2 is a minimal plot, and exercise 3, 4 and 5 are the optional ones that you can do on any computer. So I'll be only showing 1 and 2. Minimal code. Step 1. Go to the documentation of the HPC cluster you work on. Sure, we can do that. I'm going to put this text to the left of the screen, At the right, I'm going to look for PDC Dardel user documentation. And here I am at the user documentation. If you click on support, you get it. In the documentation, find a software module to load the package. So that's going to search. We're going to search for the word matplotlib. Matplotlib. It doesn't. Alright, so here we have how to install matplotlib. Well, I guess we'll use that one and pip install matplotlib. Sure, we can do that. Pip install matplotlib. Good. In a terminal in your HPC cluster, load the software module to use matplotlib. Okay, let's go to a terminal on Dardel. Here I am on Dardel. Here it is in its wider form, but I put this window also back to the right. So now some of the layout is lost. And we're gonna load the software to use matplotlib. Well, if I run this, actually, it will not work. So instead, we're gonna copy paste the answer of how to do so, which is here. We need to load a Python module first and use pip3 install matplotlib. So let's do that. Control Shift V, gonna run enter. And now we have matplotlib installed. Let's take a look what it's saying. Yeah, it needs to install. This takes a bit of time. Let's take a look. Next step. On your HPC cluster, which is Dardel, create a script called matplotlib exercise1 with the following code. This is quite minimal code. It just prints the version of matplotlib. But if that doesn't work, matplotlib doesn't work. So I'm not gonna. Alright, we see the cluster is done. So let's create this file. So to create this file, I'm going to use nano. If I press enter, you'll see I get an error message. Instead, on Dardel, you need to do module load nano too. So you need to load a module to be able to run nano. And now I can create a file using nano like this. And now it starts to create a file for me. I need to copy paste this text. So here I copy it back to here. Right mouse button, paste. I press Ctrl O to save. I press enter to accept, so you'll see that there's some layout thing. The name is too long, and this is how Nano shows it. If I move a bit to the left with my cursor, you can see it's complete. I just press enter to keep it as it is, and now I press Ctrl X to quit. There. Now we need to run that plot. Let's run that plot. Let's run that script. So this will not work. Matplotlib exercise 1. Take a look, it doesn't work. Instead, on Dardel, you need to use Python 3. You could have guessed it if you've carefully looked at how I installed it. I used pip3. Where's Dardel here? I used pip3 to install Matplotlib. And now I need to use Python 3 to run it. And here we see that Matplotlib has version 3.10.8. Oh, good, that's what it is. So what do you see? We see the version. Next question. Even though the code shows nothing directly useful, why is this a useful exercise anyways? Well, if this doesn't work, it won't work. So that is the solution. Now we're going to create a minimal plot. Sure. So this is here we do our first plot. We need to create a script called that. Sure. I press up to go back to earlier commands. I change the 1 to a 2 to a 2. I'm going to copy paste this text. You can also use Ctrl Shift V there. Ctrl O to save, enter to accept, and Ctrl X to exit. Now I need to run the script, so we're going to use Python 3 on that script again. And now I need to check that the figure is created. So the figure name is matplotlib exercise 2.ping. For example, I can use ls to see all the files present. And we see indeed there's a file of that name being present. We can also check if it's there. So eoc does not work here. Let's try module load eoc just for giggles. Maybe if that works, it'll be fun. No, that doesn't exist. So let's take so I'm not going to search the documentation. Instead, under Dardel, we need to go a bit deeper. We need to go through the answers of an earlier day. And here, what we need to do, we need to load this module, image magic, copy, Shift V. And with this, we can now display Matplotlib exercise 2. And this also only works if you have X forwarding enabled. So X forwarding is something that SSH allows you to do. You need to log in. When you use SSH, you have to add the -X to allow X forwarding. Then you see this. Some environments have it on by default, but then you can see graphics. But on the other hand, just seeing that that file is there, that was good enough for this exercise. Good. I see that exercise 3 is optional, so I'm not going to discuss that one. Instead, I'm going to call it a day. We have now been able to use matplotlib on the Dardel HPC cluster, as maintained by PDC, as part of this course taught by those centers. With that, I wish you a very good day. Bye.